Hi there. I'm Michael LeBlanc, owner of Create with Consciousness, and welcome to Divine Dirt Inspirations. Have you ever been using your garden hose and you were watering something? Or you were going to wash your car, right? And while you're doing that, you get a kink in this hose, and then all of a sudden you get this trickle. Now, for reasons unknown to me, my hose is stopped working. But when I'm gardening and you're washing your car, I hear there's a few people who do that. I'm not one of those people. And you get a kink in this hose and it stops the flow. I know for me, I get frustrated because I garden a lot. I'm dragging the hose around. I'm trying to do this. And then all of a sudden I get this kink and all of a sudden I get this trickle. And next thing you know, I want to just yank on the hose. Or another favorite is I start yelling at it. But what I find is in those moments that my struggle with it keeps the kink in place. Now, I decided and got inspired to write a story about that and what I was learning from having kinks in this garden hose. And in my new book, Divine Dirt, Inspirations and Spiritual Teachings and Gardening Tips, I wrote a chapter called A Kink in Your Divine Flow. And the story goes, in the story, the hose talks and I talk, and we have this dialogue. But it really is about how there is a natural flow because we're divine beings that is always occurring for us, to us. Now, I swear when I started this a moment ago, I had water. So, a little humor happening to me live. But when we're in life, some days you feel really good, you're in a good place, and you have that natural flow. So just envision water's flowing out of here just like it was 2 minutes ago. And then we have things in life that can throw us. And next thing you know, we're angry about something, or we're worried about something, or we're frustrated or fearful. And there's certain levels of negative emotions we can go to. Now, it's normal to go there, but what happens when we go there is it really does start putting a kink in that divine flow, in our ability to allow or access that divine self. But what I wanted to also, one of the things my host taught me was when you have this kink, there is a stream of water that is still right there, right? So when I am overly focused in life on something that is scaring me, or I'm angry about it, or whatever that is, my divine flow, my divine self hasn't run away, it hasn't departed, it hasn't abandoned me. That divine flow is still right there. The only thing that's happening is my allowing it, my tapping into it is not happening. And so I'm not experiencing it, and I feel separate from it. And other times, I know like when my hose starts kind of getting kinked and I want to just yank on it and I get frustrated with it. Sometimes in life when we are angry about something, we want to go find 20 more people to join in and agree with us about why we are justified in the way we feel, right? Or agree with me that they were wrong and I was right, which is all fine. It's really fine. But what we need to pay attention to is, as long as I keep that going, I'm the one keeping this kink in that divine flow. I'm the one not allowing that flow to happen because I'm out there continuing to promote the anger or promote the fear or get it kind of going. So one of the teachings in that story with this kink and my garden hose was, one, life does throw us. And right now, it's a big one with the coronavirus. And so feeling fear, feeling angry about things like that are normal and natural. But always, though, to know that even while I'm feeling that way and I start kind of limiting that divine flow, the divine self, the divine energy, the divine love, the divine is still right here. It hasn't left. And so even right now, if you're feeling worried, your divine self is still there. Then the question becomes, though, then what do I do with that? So with my hose, I know if I just keep pulling on it and struggling with it, it's not going to help, right? If I start yelling at it, it's not going to help. You know, this morning I was feeling a little bit tired, and I was like, well, I want to do this today. And then I started getting mad at myself for feeling tired. And it's like, all right, all you're doing in that moment is you're starting to kink that divine flow. So 2 days ago, I shared a heart meditation about going into your heart. And one of the parts was a breathing technique. And you breathe in to the count of 7, and you just hold that breath to the count of 7, and then you exhale. If you were angry or scared and you just decided to just deliberately breathe into your heart and breathe into the count of 7 and hold it, what would start happening is you would start coming down and coming away from that chronic sort of negative space. And as you do that, you start allowing flow again, right? There's different meditative techniques. But even something as simple as just taking a walk, go outside. I decided to kind of hang out in the garden today. Any of those can help you shift deliberately from the chronic or the negative place you're in back to a positive place. And here's one thing I wanted to share about your feelings. Your feelings are how you always know how aligned am I with divine flow or not. When I feel relief, so as I start breathing better, or if I go for a walk outside, or I go pet my dog, or sometimes I love watching Whose Line Is It Anyway? That show cracks me up. So whenever I start doing that, any of that starts letting that divine flow happen again. What I would ask you to do, I see a few of you chiming in. I see Susan, I see Billy. Hello, please say hi if you're there. What do you do that helps you leave sort of a negative space and return back to center, right? And you know you're getting back to the divine because you'll start feeling relief. You'll start feeling better. And our feeling better is an indicator we are tapping back into what's normal and natural and just this divine flow. When I start feeling angry, frustrated, those sort of things, I'm just kinking it to degrees, right? Just different degrees. Sometimes it's brief, and it's just a moment, and it's nothing a problem with it. But sometimes it becomes a chronic, and meaning we live in that anger for months. We live in that anger for years. My stepdad died pretty much alone, but he was such a kind of chronic, resentful, angry person, he pushed away a lot of people in his life. And that was a choice. I mean, that didn't have to be that way. So, divine flow, natural. It is your natural state. It is what you are. When we get thrown by life, it happens. And we start getting scared. You start getting worried. You start getting angry, whatever. It's okay. But how long do you want to stay there? How long are you going to hang out there? The longer you hang out there, the more you now are living your life half empty. You're living your life without this divine flow, this divine energy that could really be helping. So share a few of your own tips in there if you would. I would appreciate that. And again, it is Michael LeBlanc. You can reach me at createwithconsciousness.com or michael@createwithconsciousness.com. The new book is Divine Dirt. This chapter is called A Kink in Your Divine Flow. Also, I decided sometimes energy is in words and pictures. So what if you could wear that, right? So you're with somebody and they could read this inspiration and it was just the right thing they needed to hear. So you can go to divinedirt.com, divinedirt.net, They wanted $3,000 for divinedirt.com, so we went with divinedirt.net for 20. All right. Thanks for tuning in today. Again, share ways that you, when you are in a chronic or a negative space, how do you come back to center? How do you come back to divine flow? And share some of those with people in the messages so we can kind of help each other out, especially at this time. Again, thanks for tuning in. You are a divine being. It is always with you. It's just a matter of coming back to it as much as you can. And I will be back next week. Have a great weekend and talk to you soon.